What's going on, you guys? It's your girl, Miss J from InStyle Atlanta and JuicyPop. And I'm very excited because I've been catching up on season one and season two of this incredible show. If you guys have not been watching it, you have definitely been missing out on Love and Marriage Detroit on OWN. And today I am being joined by one of the lovely couples on the show, Brandon and Kristina Smith. How are you guys today?
Hey, I'm doing well. I can't complain.
And
Good.
you
How are you?
fabulous as always. I am well. Thank you, Brandon. Brandon, let me say this first of all, Mr. Man Bun. Can we get it back?
Can we get it back? Oh,
Yes.
I don't know. I think that's 6 feet underground.
The ship has sailed.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, I at least tried. I at least tried. All right, you guys. What up, though? I gotta say it one
What
time.
up,
We're talking
What
about
up,
Dove?
Detroit.
though?
Okay, I got some roots that lead back to Michigan as well. I spent a
Okay.
summer or two up there with family, and so a lot of people initially, when they first think about Detroit, they think about this rundown city that's now has abandoned houses where the auto industry has failed there. When you guys want people to think of Detroit, what is your first thing that you say, hey, this is what Detroit represents?
Detroit, where we once were Motown, where we pretty much set the tone for the culture of the entire world. And then, for the car, so we're a blue collar town. But as far as like the culture here, like we got the swag and we really set a lot of trends, and then the women here, a lot of women bosses here, like the women handle their business here. Yeah, it's no other city like this. And I think people now know what Detroit is. I don't even think like we get a bad rep anymore because it's like that was so long ago. Detroit has turned it around tremendously. It's a great place to live. It's just popping. Like downtown is like no other.
It
Yeah.
is very nice downtown. And I will say, when I was down there, or I should say up there because I'm in Atlanta now, but when I was there sitting at the riverfront, that was so relaxing for me because I'm originally from Chicago, but I've been in Atlanta for 11 years. So for me to have that little piece of home, so what, because it's like literally right across the river, you can see Canada. Like you
Yeah.
can't do that really in any other state. You can't see a whole other country. So
Right,
yeah,
right.
I agree with you on that, Brandon. Christina, what about for you?
Well, I'm not originally from here. I'm from Buffalo, New York, where
Right.
you actually that's the other place where you can see from the States to Canada. So
Okay.
we're on the other side of that. But although I'm not from here, I feel like I've had roots here too. I was back in the day in a singing group when I was coming here to be in a singing group. I dated some guys here well before I even knew Brandon. So I do have roots.
Ooh.
I feel like back then is when I would hear more of the bad rap, like, oh, Detroit is scary and all those things. But since I've been here, there's been a lot of transition in Detroit. So I've seen new Detroit and Detroit as it's been, so to speak, beautified. And I love Detroit. It's like I'm from a small town, so this is big city living for me.
Yes.
So I really appreciate Detroit. A lot of people are very supportive. I think we're one of the hair capitals. We have some bomb makeup artists. I feel like a lot of talent comes out of Detroit. I just feel like Detroit births stars and a lot of talent. So Detroit has done nothing but show me love. So I'm all for Detroit.
Yeah, I actually like Detroit. I consider moving there. However, the winters, I can't do the snow anymore. I've had enough of the
Yeah,
snow. Thank
It's
you.
not that bad here.
it's pretty bad. It's
It's
pretty
Well,
bad.
bad.
I'm
And
from
it's
Buffalo.
Buffalo, right?
It's nothing compared to Buffalo.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna let you guys have it. All right. And so, Christina, as you just said, there's a lot of talent that comes out of Detroit. You are a stylist as well as a very successful influencer. And Brandon, you are entrepreneur, the owner of Star Factory. Why did you guys choose to put your life and display your life on national TV?
It was an opportunity that presented itself to me from another young lady that they were actually pursuing, but her husband didn't want to do it. So she thought that Brandon and I would be a great fit. We interviewed And I'm like, okay, it's not a big deal for me to be on national television with my marriage. It's not like anything that I've ever searched for doing. But I prayed about it and I'm like, God, if this is what you want me to do, I'll do it. So everything went as planned. I'm like, if you put any hiccups in this guy, I'm not doing it. And there was no hiccups. It went really smooth. I did have a prayer that, God, if there's some way that I can help people enrich their lives or, share a testimony, shine my light, shine, a light back to you, God, then I'll do it and I'll be okay with that because I'm not here for me, honestly. I'm here, just to let God's light shine through me. So that is the only reason why I agreed to it, but I am fully enjoying the experience. I'm glad that I did it. I have absolutely no regrets. I definitely feel like this is where God wanted me to be in this season of my life.
Okay. What about for you, Brandon?
Oh, well, I feel like everybody at one point in their life feels like, yo, I should have my own reality show. And
Mm-hmm.
so when the opportunity presents itself, it's like, okay, so you're going to seriously consider it, but then it's like, okay, it's your marriage. And, of course, our marriage was not perfect. So it was a lot to think about, but we just felt like we could be the example of a typical marriage that
This
has
ain't
its ups and
typical.
downs. Well, that ain't what you used to say. You used to say, we're not that bad. That's what you used to tell me. Um, but when we run into people on the street, a lot of people relate to us. A lot of people say they've been through the same thing, at least for me. They'd be like, yo, I go through the same thing, and that's women and men. So I feel like we are serving like the purpose of making other couples feel like there is hope and you can do this and you're not alone.
So
Yeah,
that
I
brings
definitely feel like we both are we've been transparent. Before we started filming, we were like, why do we sign up for this? We are not on good terms. I feel like I had just given him an ultimatum. I'm like, well, we start filming in another couple weeks.
we gotta
Let's
go
see how
with
this
it.
goes. And we didn't hold back. We let everything out. Like there was no reason to hold back because we just felt like, hey, we're gonna be here. We may as well be, true with it. And so y'all got the real raw Smiths.
Yes, we did. So that brings me to this season where you guys open up and you guys are now separated. What is going on and what is the status of the marriage? Because I need y'all to work through this and get it together, please.
You want to take that, Brandon?
Well, yeah. I just had one of those moments in time where I just felt like this too much.
Mm.
And I just felt hopeless. I felt like it was just was like this is going nowhere. We can't pull this together. I don't feel like I have the desire to do the work. It's not seeming like she had the desire to do the work that it took, and so I was just in a give up phase. And um and so I was like seriously like considering divorce, but I was like, all right, I'm gonna do a fast before I make this final decision. And on the last day of the fast, I opened up my laptop to watch church online, and I had fast forwarded past praise and worship right into the middle of the message. And the first things out the pastor's mouth was, "Don't you leave that marriage? It's like you stay your butt put." And that's not what I wanted to hear.
Wow.
But I closed it, and then I was just really, like, really meditated on that, and was like, well, if I know that was directly from God, so I'm gonna obey, and I'm gonna get my flesh into submission, and see, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And so ever since, I've just been getting myself together and realizing that I am like a big part of the problem. I gotta work on myself. I gotta get it together. I gotta be able to love and lead and do all that stuff without and block out all the noise, because marriage, the devil hates the marriage, and he'll do everything in his power to get you to see that you need to leave, or like, so yeah. So we're here now, and this weekend you will see. I think you'll see the light at the end of the tunnel as well.
So let me ask you, because you just touched on feeling like you needed to get yourself together. And we also saw you starting therapy with your mom. Why did you feel like you needed to share such a vulnerable moment with the world? Because there are a lot of people, especially in the Black community, we think that therapy is a taboo. A lot of people say, "Oh, I don't want to go talk to nobody who don't know me. I can't have no stranger tell me about my personal life." But you, on the other hand, Brandon, you did the complete opposite, and you were even vulnerable enough where you even started crying and got emotional on the scene. Tell us what is getting yourself together. What does that mean to you?
I mean, I'm from Detroit, so we just grind. We just like we so career focused here, and that's really how I was my whole life. And so you just kind of ignore your personal life. You just ignore you as a person. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but that's just what I was doing. I just was really ignoring me. And I finally, got therapy after season one, and I just started really um, just understanding that I have a lot of inner work to do, just to be able to find just that joy that's inside of me through God. And it's it's still a work in progress, but I've come a long way since then, so it's just there's balance, and I didn't have balance at all. I did not have any kind of balance. I just now pay way more attention to me, which allows me to do more for my family. So
So that was
yeah.
another question. Obviously, you guys are in separate spaces today. How have your daughters been dealing with it because they're so young?
My daughters are our daughters are very emotionally intelligent and very mature. As you've seen on the last episode, we do include them in the conversation.
Mhm.
Not that we necessarily would want to, but
Mhm.
when they've seen and heard so many things on their own, I just think that it's important to give them explanations and to hear how they actually feel about the things that they've heard and saw over the years. I think we in our community have come out of a generation of sweeping under the rug or stay in a child's place. But that's why a lot of our generation now needs therapy because
Mhm.
we weren't able to sort through the things that we saw and heard. We kind of internalized them. And now we're as adults trying to
Figure it
process
out.
this, process all this stuff all this trauma that we experience. And I don't want that for my children. So we very much keep them in the conversation. We very much allow them to, really discuss how they feel. And we give them the best answers that we can. I know there's like this idea that maybe one parent is speaking bad on, the other and coaching the children behind. We actually do not do that at all. Like our children would say that. And kids are honest.
They are.
You
They
said be honest. Oh, they're going to be honest. And
are.
if they were, what I'm saying, they would have been like, well, mommy said that you know what I'm saying? I think that, again, that it has a lot to do with the level of emotional maturity that they have.
Well, I commend you both for doing that because that can be a hard thing to do, especially as a parent myself. You're trying to reserve your own personal feelings towards the other parent, but you have to make sure your kids' best
Right.
interest is always the center focus of everything. To shift gears a little bit, Kristina, last season at the beginning, we saw you introduce Kobe as your little sister. On the reunion, there was a part where her and Latoya basically called you a manipulator. How did you feel about that? Like you like, girl, you supposed to be my girl. Like, yeah, we had our differences, but a manipulator? I don't know.
Yeah, I was confused. I think it kind of hurt my feelings back then, if I could be honest, because we had never had any experiences for her or Latoya to draw a conclusion of such. The only issue that Kobe and I ever had during our entire friendship was what you guys saw on television. So to be called a manipulator was just like, wait a minute, like we had a misunderstanding. Like how does this, turn into that? And then Latoya, her and I had never really had a friendship, and we never had beef or an issue. So for her to say this is like, okay, now, but what I also gathered at the time was they both were saying, we heard about you in the streets, or we heard this, we heard that. And I'm like, well, from who? Because I don't have beef with anybody. And so when you fast forward to season 2, and then you see Kimberly come on, and she's saying the same exact language, then it's just like ding, 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 ding. Oh, this is where this came from. Because I'm like, where are y'all talking about? Where does this come from? So, it started to make sense to me. It doesn't really bother me. I think when you really know who you are, and how you carry yourself, the relationships that you have with real people, you just stand on that, and people can say whatever they want. And when you're strong in who you are, it just kind of bounces off of you. So to me, it's just talk.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. We're going to come back to Kimberly in a second. But as far as Kobe, we see that she is now pregnant with her second baby. What is some advice that you're going to give to her, or that you've already possibly given to her, as far as being a mom of young kids?
It's funny because we actually did have a moment after, so we're breaking after the next episode, not this current episode, but the following episode. We have like a break, and then we're coming back next year. There is a scene where we actually do give Kobe advice. So one of those things is just to always take care of yourself, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And I know that that's just a big thing in our generation, self-care. But it's so important, because as a mom, it's so easy, and a mom and wife combined, it's so easy to lose yourself. So that's probably one of the biggest pieces of advice. And I still encourage her to this day. Make sure you're looking out for yourself. Make sure you're, taking time for yourself, and you're pouring into yourself, so that you have enough to pour out and you're not being empty.
I love that. Yeah, definitely when you're a mom, you can lose yourself within taking care of your kids, taking care of your household, taking care of your business, trying to juggle everything, and then you forget about self. And it's like, if you don't take care of you, who is going to take care of you? So you
gonna do it and wear yourself out.
Figure it out. Yes. You're gonna figure it out one way or another. All right. So you just mentioned Kimberly. Kimberly comes on the scene. She says that you guys used to be friends. Then she refers to a certain situation at your birthday party where some of your friends said she was mediocre, her husband, and because they had Android phones, like, is there really any truth to that, or is Kimberly just making stuff up at this point?
So she's not making up that was actually a conversation. It was a conversation that was had, but I was not a part of the conversation. I did not know that this happened. I had a birthday dinner. It was a long table. They were on a completely different end of the table than I was. So I was not privy to the conversation at the moment. I didn't actually even hear about the conversation from her. A month and a half had gone by, and I heard on the streets, Kimberly's going around saying that you set her up at your birthday dinner, and you brought your friends there to mean girl her. And I'm like, nothing happened at my birthday dinner. I was so confused. I reached out to her, and I'm like, me and Britton, my oldest, she was a baby at the time. I'm like, we're coming over because I don't know what this is that I'm hearing in the streets, but we need to talk about it. I'm bringing you lunch. Let's talk. I did go to her. We talked about it. She told me what her perspective of what happened was. She felt like they were being mean. She did apologize for saying that I set her up. I'm like, it's my birthday. Nobody is thinking about setting nobody up. We're here for a good time.
I'm only worried about me.
Okay. And so, but because she was expressing that she felt so hurt by the comment, of course, I'm going to go ask, the other party about it. Like, what did you say to her? Like, and then I asked some of the other people at the table, like, what happened, because they had different stories. And so the other party, which were girlfriends that she also knew, they were not just my friends. These are people that were also at her wedding, that support her, that were at her baby shower, that comes to all her events. So they were not my friends, they were our friends.
Got it.
And she said, yes, we did. I did say that. She's like, but we were kidding. I was kidding. And we laughed. Kimberly and Marcel laughed, and we continued to have a good night. And as far as I knew, everybody had a good night. We took a picture at the end of the night. I never heard anything different. And so Kimberly did get upset that I went around asking, did anybody see anything that, made them feel uncomfortable or made them feel like somebody was being singled out or picked on? Because nobody, not one of the 16 people, said that they seen anything. So that was concerning to me. But I left it at that. I didn't make a big deal of it, and we squashed it and we moved on with life. So to come to me 6 years, 7 years later with all of this animosity over something that I wasn't privy to, those were your friends too, and
Right.
we cleared it up and squashed it 7 years ago, I was blown away. Like, oh, that's what we doing.
Okay. All right. All right. All right, Brandon, question for you. We saw where you and Russell were at the gym. You were talking to him about your divorce potentially. And he got very emotional about it. And we know last season he was talking about possibly becoming a pastor. Do you feel like your friendship with him has kind of helped guide you both to working things out and making your relationship, your marriage, and your family better?
Well, yeah, I mean, you gotta be able to fellowship with other husbands, and Russell is just a very good one to fellowship with. Um, in my industry, I'm not around a lot of husbands.
Mm.
I'm around a lot of RNs, you know what I'm saying? And it's just a whole different world. So when I get to kind of interact with Russell and even Anthony, it's still for the greater good because we are husbands and we have that common bond. And that scene was it was real and deep because that was we had like cut, like we had like stopped,
Mm.
and Russell just went off to the side and started crying.
Wow.
And so they turned the cameras back on and followed him. And so I came over there, and so that whole conversation was like just like straight up like a sidebar.
Mm.
So it was a very real moment. So I appreciate, his level of concern, for that. And so yeah, I definitely am going to continue to lean on Russell and to help, just you got to be around that energy. It's contagious, and it's just good to have.
And we see you guys doing like a counseling session with Russell, where Kristina, you shared that you wanted Brandon to possess the fruit of the spirit. Brandon, when you say you're working on yourself, are you working on possessing the fruit of the spirit for your wife?
Good question.
I mean, do I wake up every day and say, "Yo, make me more gentle"? I feel like I am becoming those things.
Okay.
As I mature and I just realize, like what being a man is like. Just my view of what a man and husband was just skewed from my experience, with my dad living in Detroit, being in the music industry. It just was a little skewed. So as I get more closer to what like God's version of being a man is, yeah, those things are happening.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, I'm congratulating you in advance because I have faith that you will become that husband that you're not only your wife needs, but that you need to be for yourself, that man that you have to be for your daughters. Because especially in this day and age, Black men, your presence is more important than sometimes you guys even know. And especially when you're raising daughters, you're setting that example for the type of man or what they should expect from a man. So I really commend you on working on yourself and even going to therapy again because I'm a big advocate for therapy. You got to work on yourself. You have to make sure you're okay. So if you're not okay, then everybody else will not be okay around you. So I commend you on that.
Thank
Really quickly, you're very welcome. Kristina, any new collaborations coming up anytime soon? Are you looking for collaborations? Tell us all about what you have coming up.
So I am actually working on a collaboration with another designer.
Okay.
We have a collection coming out, Monica Lynn and Kristina Bowman-Smith collection. I've been wearing some of the pieces. We have a photo shoot coming up. So that collaboration should be dropping first quarter 2025. I'm always in collaboration because I love the city of Detroit. I'm always in collaboration with Bedrock, which is who I collaborated with in the penthouse. I don't know if you remember, we were living in a
Yes.
penthouse in season one. So that was actually a brand deal, a brand collaboration.
Okay.
So we are actually potentially talking about me coming back to stay at another property and getting that downtown experience again and sharing it with my followers. But I'm always opened up to collaborations that align with my brand. So
And I'm
always.
glad you said that because I noticed I was like, well, these are two different houses. I was trying to figure it out. So I'm glad you told that for me. And then really quick, if someone is trying to pursue being an influencer or say they're putting content, good quality content out there, but they're not getting the views or the follows or the collaborations that you are, or just to even be successful being a content creator, what is some advice that you would give to them?
I would say, first of all, keep going. Don't get discouraged because it just takes that one time that you make the right connection. Always pitch. So I know a lot of people kind of create content and wait for opportunities to come to them. I would really get into learning how to pitch and pitch to brands that align with your likeness and the things that you have going on, the things that you content create around. Create a pitch and send that brand your idea of what you can do for that brand. And I always say, look for opportunity, something that's missing, like something that the world needs, and create content around that. And because there's a need in the world for it, people will gravitate to that and like, oh, I've never seen that, or oh, I didn't know that that's something that I needed. And brands will also start to notice you as well. Brands are in love with influencers right now. So I think that people think that you have to have this huge following before brands look at you. Brands actually love micro influencers, which are influencers that have 10,000 or less followers, because those influencers have direct connection to their audience. They talk to their audience more. So if you have a small number of followers, you're actually in a better position.
Got it. Okay. That is good advice. Thank you for that. And then Brandon, with you being the owner of Star Power, you're always finding new talent. What is something that you are always looking for in some talent, or what is like that it factor currently? Because it's like right now, the music industry is changing so quickly. You see one artist today, and then there's like 10 other artists that are rapping like them, singing like them, looking like them. What is that one it factor that stands out or catches your eye when you're looking for new talent?
It's Star Factory, by the way.
Star
But
Factor, I'm sorry.
no problem. Well, since basically like the artists pay me, I take on clients and I don't really like look for talent, but when I know somebody has it, it's just somebody who's really just confident in being themselves. They're not trying to get on, they're not trying to do anything that they think might work. They're just doing what they feel like is in them, and they're just expressing that, to the world. And those are normally the people who start elevating because you can't teach different. You either are or you aren't. And you can't, and only you can only tell your version of the story. So if those artists are same thing as influencing. If you're speaking to a certain kind of audience consistently, that audience is going to catch on. But if you're trying to like get everybody, you're just going to keep going in this infinite loop of chasing it.
Got it. All right. And Brandon, are there any new artists that you have coming out? Any new projects, showcases that you want to promote?
Um, I'm working on an ebook right now. There's an artist development ebook for artists, which is going to be it's so great, it's so dope. And but I'm doing songs with love. So if you have a boo and you want to surprise your boo for your anniversary or for birthday or sweetest day, then you can log on to songswithlove.com and you can fill out a questionnaire, tell us about your relationship. We will write a customized song that beautifully portrays that relationship, and he might even cry upon the first listen. And
Oh,
yes, so yes, a beautiful thing. So songswithlove.com.
I love that. And really quickly, if you guys can give our viewers your social media handles so we can make sure we're staying connected with you guys. I'm gonna need a follow-up interview. I'm gonna give a shameless plug right now once this season finale comes on because I need to follow up so I know what's going on with you guys as well. But let us know what's going on with you guys and where we can follow you.
You can follow me on Instagram at Kristina Bowman-Smith. That's Christina with a K, Bowman-Smith.
Thank you.
And you can follow me, Brandon Smith Inc. That's INC. And songs.love dot no songs dot with dot love
Got it.
on
All
Instagram.
right. Well, thank you both for your time. Thank you for both for your vulnerability on TV. I just want to commend you guys for the hard work that you are putting in to try and save this marriage. I'm keeping my fingers crossed and my prayers lifted for you guys because I want to see you guys make it to the end. And I know next week when the season finale comes on that y'all will be in love. You guys will be back in the same household and just going and thriving forward with each other. Like we got to see it. I'm speaking it into you guys, okay?
Thank you so
Everybody,
much.
That's
you are very welcome. Everybody, please check out this season finale coming on next Saturday, October 12th at 8 p.m. on OWN. Again, this is Brandon and Kristina Smith from Love and Marriage Detroit. Thank you guys again for your time, and I wish you nothing but continued success.
Thank you, Jordan.
you.
Talk to you guys later.
All right,
Bye.
have a good one.